Welcome back to the Work of Wellbeing podcast. I'm Amy Green, your host from The Wellness Strategy, and we're here to talk about all things personal and professional wellbeing. This podcast is designed to help you become curious and consider your everyday wellbeing strategies, what you do for your own wellness, and how you can start to transform your life both in and out of the workplace. Sit back, grab a cup of tea, maybe grab a notepad, a journal, and get ready to feel really enlightened about what wellbeing used to be, what it is now, and where you can take your own wellness strategy. Hello, welcome back to another episode. I am Amy, founder in all things the wellness strategy, I guess is what you'd say. All right, in this episode, we are diving into how do we balance workload along with ensuring we have clarity around this crazy thing called our school calendar. Oh my goodness. I spend a lot of time talking to people, capturing staff voice as part of our Thriving Schools project in schools. It is one of our processes or steps in our process. And I hear this all the time. It's too busy. We have too many things happening. This week alone, I had 3 assessments due, and then we had a parent-teacher session about camp that's coming up, and then I had to finalize the camp activities, and then I had 2 days out for a PD on the literacy program that we're implementing. And on top of that, I've also got a new student starting, like it's so many things. And we're trying to manage it all. And then we wonder why teachers are not coping or leaving the profession or thinking this job, it just isn't for me. And I think what we have to be aware of, and this is one of those hard truths, is that a school calendar, for the most part, is controlled by the school. Yes, there are some external things that we need to consider. Nap plan, for example. We don't decide when that happens. We are told. If you are involved in some kind of external sporting thing that might be happening, you're usually told when those dates are. You are told when they are. You don't get to choose them. Perhaps our professional development days, usually we're told they're the beginning and end of the year or the start of each term. We don't have a lot of autonomy and flexibility over those things. So those things are locked. We can't change them. We can't move them. We can't negotiate them. We can't trade them. But everything else, it sits with us. Our report writing timeline, our assessment schedules, our school camps, our parent-teacher meetings, the PD that we send people on, not perhaps when it is, but that we choose to send people on alongside everything else that is happening, team meetings, additional meetings, excursions that we have, school fetes and extravaganzas and concerts. These are all down to how we plan our calendar in a school. There is no one else to blame here but us. And so when we hear that our calendars are crowded and they're busy and there's a lot on, we have to understand that that's a reflection of our ability to manage all of the things in a calendar sense. Now, there are some pieces to this that I've already mentioned that make it a little bit complex. So yes, one is the external things that are imposed on us, but also often too what happens is in larger schools, we have people, middle leaders with their own initiatives and drives and things that they're doing. And so those items get popped into calendars, or the things that we need to do for those priorities are added. And often these areas don't talk to each other. So what's happening in the literacy realm may not talk to the person who's leading the new in-house tech system, who may not talk to the person who's leading the work on formative assessment, who may not talk to the person who's leading the staff wellbeing work. Now, these people obviously talk to each other, but they're not necessarily talking to each other about what initiatives do you have on, what are you asking our educators to do at the moment, what deadlines do you have for them, what are you adding to their workload, what are you making them think about, what are you making them change, do differently, consider adding to their lessons, etc. Because when you've got more than one person asking you to change your practice or add something to your already busy day, one person is a lot. Multiply that by 4, 5, or 6, depending on the size of your school. It's pretty big, So we need to be considering calendars in terms of what are other people expecting educators to do, or people in the school to do, or school leaders to do. It works both ways. And what are the external things coming in? And what's our rule for how we add things to a calendar? Do we have expectations? Do we have procedures and processes for how things are added? And most importantly, are we considering capacity? I mean, it's nice to do all of the things. It's not reasonable to do all of the things. We don't have this large capacity to be able to manage all of the things that happen because we're trying to do all of them well, but in actual fact, we're one person and can only do most of them mediocre. Let's be honest about that. One of the reasons things fall apart in schools is because we're trying to do too many things alongside it and we're not making it our number one priority. You need to find the thing and make it the thing. And some of the other things that sit in our calendar outside of that, we can still do, but then we need to look at other things through a capacity lens and go, oh, we're already having a staff meeting this week on the new literacy program. Is it also appropriate in teams to introduce the new assessment schedule? Probably not. Like, that's a lot. Oh, we've got year 6 and year 7 out on school camp this week. Is it really a good idea to have parent-teacher meetings that week too? Probably not. So we need to start asking those questions, and we need to really focus on what are our priorities, what are the high impact things we want to achieve, and are there some things that we can get rid of that maybe we have done because we've always been doing them, like I mentioned in last episode, but don't necessarily add the value, have the impact, have the efficient processes behind them to make them meaningful? We have to be really aware that an overcrowded calendar is what's going to contribute to high stress factors, to increased long-term chronic stress or burnout, and that it has a real ripple on things like productivity, staff morale, culture, staff well-being, how people show up to meetings, conversations that people have, whether we're in fight or flight thinking, whether we're focusing on the negative or the positive. So we have to be really aware of what's happening, what's our decision-making process for adding things to calendars, and then how do we reduce the calendar if it's already overcrowded. Now, if you've ever heard me present, you might have heard me say, I think some of our best lessons come with hindsight, but we are so worried about getting to the end and moving on to the next, we don't pause to reflect. And we have to pay attention to the high stress periods, to the things that didn't work, to those periods of time where we're like, oh, this is just life in a school. This is how it is. It's the nature of the beast. We just got to get through it. No, we don't. Who says? Who says we do? Pause and ask yourself, what is the intense work period you're experiencing right now and why? What's in our control and what's not? Is it because we've added a whole bunch of stuff happening in our school at this point in time that we could have done a different way at a different time or not done altogether? And how do we not repeat this? We have to get better at asking this question. This high stress state is not normal. It's not it's only week 2. We've got 8 more weeks to go. Let's get to the end of term. We can do it. Yeah. We'll be fine. And then crash and burn. That's not a normal, sustainable way of living. It's just not. Especially working too. It's just not. So we need to think about, what are those long-standing things we need to have, and then what are the pieces we put around it, but also making sure that they don't detract from our core business, from our job of education and teaching our students. And sometimes I think we get so distracted with being involved in all of the things and all of the things that externally look good, or they look great on our Facebook page, or they're great to share with our parent community. We wonder why learning isn't where we want it to be, or we wonder why teachers are incredibly tired, or we wonder why there's that sense of heightenedness among staff, which then ripples into students. And it's because we're doing too many things. So we need to pause. We need to ask, what does an ideal calendar look like to enable us to be able to do the things we have to do, to access things that are happening that we'd like to do, and that still allow us to do what we need to do. Yeah? So want, like, and need. It's not all of the things all at once, all of the time. And we really need to align this conversation with the idea of workload. If we're making our calendars too busy and workload's already a thing, we're really not supporting that. So we need to be mindful of what else is happening, who's asking who to do what. And I'm a big believer that everything goes on your school calendar. Everything, every meeting, every item that is due, every task that is happening, every event, internal and external. Because without this visibility, we let other things creep in and we think, it's not that big of a deal. But we haven't paid attention to what other priorities might already be happening and existing because they're invisible. And it's often the invisible expectations that add to the chaos that we experience and the high workload. And we need to make everything visible so we can streamline and align some of the intensity or all of the intensity we experience and start to redesign and rethink our school calendars, especially through a lens of de-implementation and do we still need to do this? How else could we do it differently? And what really matters alongside our school priorities with everything else we're being asked to do. Now, I think this takes a little bit of work. It's certainly not something that you're going to be able to click your fingers and do, and it requires everyone to get invested. And once you have a calendar that looks good, the challenge then is to lock it down. We don't add things. I mean, I know sometimes cool things appear in our calendar and we think, oh yeah, let's do that. But it's that last minute change. It's that last minute add-on, and it's adding on without actually thinking through the lens of capacity that make us feel like we're not going to make it to holidays. And that's not how we want to be feeling or thinking or behaving at all. So if calendar is something that you're finding quite immense and you want some support around this, please let me know. It is something that we do. We help you look at what are your day-to-day events like, what are your bigger events like, what kind of school do you want to create from a staff perspective in terms of capacity and energy and well-being, but then also what do we need to do for our students, what are we being asked to do from the system, and then also what are the other things that we'd like to add for community, etc., and what is the lens of capacity through this. And sometimes it involves things like changing start dates. We love to start things all in term one, but is that actually the best thing to do? And how do we rotate some of these things and pause other things whilst we de-implement other things? And really just rethink and reimagine what a school calendar can look like. As always, if you have any thoughts, please let me know. And otherwise, go and enjoy your day, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. And I'll see you somewhere soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I really do hope you have enjoyed it. The information discussed today was just that, information only. It's not specific advice. If you take action following something you heard today, it's important to make sure that you get professional advice about your unique situation before you proceed, whether that advice be legal, financial, accounting, medical, or otherwise. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or if there's anything else I can do to support your own wellbeing and wellness journey, whether it's another topic you'd like me to discuss or whether it's support in your school, workplace, or individually. And if you do know someone who might benefit from listening to this, please remember to tell them about it, share the episode with them, or suggest my Instagram, my website, or LinkedIn where they can find out more about me and what I do. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.